Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cyclone. It's time for our Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. Time for the final Edinburgh to Glasgow scenario that comes with the route that I'm going to actually look at. We're not looking at the Eastbound Night or the Westbound Night Express because, I'm not lying, they're exactly the same scenario as the other ones. Basically, the timetables are moved up by 6 or 12 hours, depending which one you're looking at. And you're playing them at night, which I don't want to do. Because there's not a lot to really show you on video at night. So, yeah, we're going to skip that. Now, you might remember I made a hint in a previous video about how you cannot get a perfect score on this scenario. You'll notice I went to the top of the leaderboard to find out that there are people who do have a perfect score on this scenario. I can go to my friends list very briefly to show you that no one on my friends list has a perfect score on this scenario. 960 that Railfan has here is the best score you can actually get on this scenario. So, how are we going to change that? Stay tuned. Alright, so again, we're not being given any kind of a prompt. Let's get in the cab. And you can see that we don't have any... well, we'll open the doors. We should probably open the doors. That's probably a good first step, because we have to make our pickup at Glasgow Queen. It is 10:12 that we started. 10:15 is when we depart. There's going to be a train coming in a moment. And we're going to look at the scoring in this in a second. So let's take a quick look at the station here. I'm just going to stay with you as I pop out because I got 3 minutes to kill here. So we're going to pop out on top of the train. And, oh, there you go. That's why we're not going yet. That train's leaving. Plus we're doing our pickup. So yeah, a little bit busy in here today. We're going to see another train coming in, I believe, before we actually depart. I will try to get a view of that as well. But, yeah. Here we are at Glasgow Queen. Let's go to our side of the platform. Doors are all open. Hello, sir. I just chopped his head off. That is grotesque. Yep, all the doors are open to the back of the train. Not bad. Not bad. So this platform works properly. Let's zoom out for a second. I wasn't kidding when I said Glasgow doesn't have a lot of stuff around, didn't I? If you look at this area on the suburban Glasgow route, I guarantee you there's a lot more stuff in here. There's a lot more in here. You can actually pop out of the station, get lost on the map, not even know where you're going back to because everything's underground. So you can actually get lost. But here is pretty easy to know where you are. You're right there. That's where the station is. You just go straight in. So not hard to miss here. Let's take a look at the... let's take a more scenic look at everything before we depart. So you can see we just have a yellow signal right now. I think that just changed a second ago. You can see that I got a score of 175 points on this stop. This is intentional. So, remember I said that the top score was 960 points, correct? As you see, we now have rain coming in. I need to turn my headlights on, so we'll do that. So, remember I said that the top score was 960 points. 175 points is not how you get to a 960 score. Each stop is normally worth 160 points in this scenario, and if you multiply that by 6, which I'll show you very quickly, we have 6 times stops here today, 6 actual tasks. The maximum score would be 960 for 160 points per stop. By changing the score to 175, which is a very, very simple edit of the scenario properties file, something I did back in June of this year, so 2 months ago, as I'm showing you this, a month and a half probably. So a quick edit. Oh, thank you, Occlusions. I never fixed that. So a quick edit of the scenario properties file basically allows you to set whatever score you want to. You can actually set the score up to 1,000 per stop if you want to guarantee a perfect score while doing whatever you want to, which some scenarios might actually require. We won't talk about that. But in any case, yeah, basically you can edit the scoring to your liking, and you can still run this scenario with absolutely no problems. And I think it will take your score. I think it will take the adjusted score when you do that as well, because if you can edit the scenario itself and replace it, which I've done in some cases, I assume that you can just change the score and it'll work as well. So we're going to look at this at the end of the scenario. We're going to find out. For right now, though, we are on our way to our first stop. Thank you. We're so good. We're on our way to our first stop at Falkirk High, which is a long, long way into the route. Roughly the halfway point for us. We're on a double yellow, so I'm not panicking about the signal right now. It's going to be like this for a little while. Here we go. Now I'm going to ease up on the throttle just in case it's a single yellow. I can see the light is a single yellow. I'm not going to increase my speed. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to increase my speed beyond 30 because I see the signal just clear to a double yellow as I got to it, which means 0.6 of a mile from now is still a red signal. However, there are faster speed limits ahead, and I have a feeling the train ahead of us will clear out before we reach that signal. We know we are following a train. In fact, it's the one that left ahead of us. There is an incoming train. Now that signal stayed on a single yellow, so I'm going to keep an eye out ahead to see if there's any red signals I need to cut the brakes for. For now, I'm just going to coast a little bit, which is actually not helpful because I'm on an uphill. 1 in 50 gradient is pretty steep for a coast. It'll literally bring you to a halt. But now I'm coming up to that signal, and if I scan ahead here, I can see it as a yellow signal. You can see it right... Well, actually, no. Maybe mine is a red, actually. I can't tell. Mine might be a red, actually. I'm going to keep it cut back just in case. No, I'm a yellow. Okay, yeah, the third signal is the one to the right on the track coming in for Springburn. That's what was confusing me for a moment. The yellow did make sense. I don't know why I thought it was not mine. Now, it should be known that it's still a single yellow, but we are coming up to an 85-mile-per-hour segment after the next signal. So the train we're following should be able to pull away from us. We should start getting green signals very soon. That was not the best whistle thing. There goes the line to Ashfield. That particular line is also served by the Glasgow Queen Street as a regular station. There is a yellow signal again. So that is served as a regular stop, or as a regular line. Here's the other line coming in from Ashfield. That line is the Maryhill line. I had to remember the name for a second. The Maryhill line goes to Anniesland, which is on the North Clyde route. Putting a little bit of brakes on just in case we have a red signal, because I did not get any indication we were clear yet, and I can't see this signal very well. I can't see it at all right now. In fact, it is a yellow though, so we are good to go. We're still aiming to be early at this stage, so I'm not too concerned right now about the timing. There is Bishop Briggs coming up. Remember, this is not a stop today. We're going to Falkirk High, which is nearly 20 miles away. So while we're early in this journey, and while I still have most of you with me here, because I know a lot of you probably don't want to watch the whole video, yellow still. So I've been looking at some interesting projects, and I actually have one in mind I actually want to try playing soon. I'm looking at the Blackpool North line, the Blackpool South line, which actually is a route, kind of like a route that comes from the Preston area. I have not done the West Coast main line on video yet. I've played it, but I haven't actually done it on video. I made recordings, but I didn't like how some of the scenarios came out, so I basically just kind of abandoned the project. That's a yellow signal. Why is there a green on the other line? Really? Okay, that's fun. I'm going to keep going slow because I don't like this driving under caution like this. Yeah, I'm looking at the Northern Lines, and I was actually taking a look at the track network on the Northern Lines. It's actually turning out to be a huge route that is planned here. I've been looking at one of the timetables that actually covers the Blackpool segment of the route, and needless to say, if that route does get completed as it is currently mapped out, that little booklet I'm looking at, and again, it's a digital version, but the little booklet I'm looking at will be very, very useful for scenario making for a lot of routes. There's only, if this route completes as designed, the only timetable I will not be able to use, I believe, is the Wrexham to Bidston route, which is located near Chester, on the other side of Chester. That's the only one that will be missing. I think there's also a 6-page one for a Manchester to Chester route or something like that as well through Northport. That one might be missing as well in the analysis, but we have green signals. We can go at line speed. Let's go. So that booklet will be a very, very handy booklet. I think I can turn my wipers off. That will be a very handy booklet. I've already been looking at the Leeds to Liverpool timetable, which I mostly completed my little charting for now. I just have to do one set of Sunday trains, and then I can start looking for things to add to that timetable. But I am also looking at, and that's for the Liverpool-Manchester, I want to be clear. I'm looking at the Liverpool-Manchester part of that timetable, but I'm putting Leeds down just in case, because, you know what, why not? It's the whole timetable. There's a couple of roading options for Manchester-Piccadilly there, so if we ever get a Manchester-Piccadilly to Leeds, that'd be nice as well. There's a train waiting over there. That is a delayed Glasgow Queen to Perth service. Since he's delayed, we get the track. He was late, we're not. We have to go. So I am looking at the Liverpool to Manchester route there. I did see Crewe to Holyhead. This is the CE book as it existed back in the 90s. It's now been split up a little bit. Sheffield to Manchester, for example, is now CM. Back then it was CE. I actually downloaded the CM 2022 and I found Sheffield to Derby in there as well. So I know they've changed it around since the 90s. So I am looking at an old CE book. And like I said, if this freeware route to Blackpool completes as designed, every single timetable, except perhaps the airport route, because I don't think the airport route exists anywhere, but that timetable can be used to identify services coming into the Manchester area, so you can still create AI. This is the Lenzie area, so you can still identify services coming in because that's one of the busiest timetables. You can identify some services going through, so I'm still going to be able to use that if I decide to create anything. And for scenario creators in general, it's worth having it all in there. But, yeah, the Shap route itself is in there as well. Obviously, the route to Blackpool. And with the fact, if this freeware route doesn't go all the way to Manchester, but it does go a fair way. I see he's laid down tracks to Hellifield. I see he's laid down the track to Colne, which is a terminus. And the platforms are already in the route, just no scenery yet. So that tells me he is... And this is, I think Thomas and Mark from Just Trains are doing this. They're part of on-track simulation as well. So I think they are working on the route, and I am very, very interested in seeing what happens with the route to Colne. I would love to get in the, to get a chance to try that out and see if I can make up something to help with the Colne route, if I can figure out some good services for that area based on the area they're representing in that route. I don't know anything about the area yet. We're getting up to our speed limit here, so I'm going to keep my throttle at 85%. I'm at 98.4 right now. This is exactly the area I want to stay, 98.5. But yeah, what I'm basically saying is that Blackpool is a route I am now looking at possibly doing soon, especially because it is a freeware route. It'll give me a chance to show off some other assets I haven't shown off yet. The only complication is I will have to install some Armstrong Powerhouse trains, and some of them may be trains I have not yet shown off, so I may have to quickly show off a few other trains. But I do want to show off the Blackpool route. That looks like, just that one little segment alone, Looks like it could be a fun little route to play going from Blackpool to Preston. But I don't think they will have had any scenery added beyond Preston yet for a lot of the route. Because it is still a route that is being that is well under construction. For them to have that much track laid tells you they have big plans for that route, and I look forward to seeing what happens with that route and what more is added to it. So we'll see. We'll see. So Blackpool is going to be on my plans for the future because I'm also contemplating timetables for that area. What else can I say about that? I'm also looking at the Holyhead to Crewe route as well, the North Wales Coastal. I don't know if I've actually installed, but I did pick up, I think, the extension from Backdated Train Sim that adds the, I can't say the name, Blano Facelong or something like that. I apologize for butchering that pronunciation. I know it has 2 F's in it, so together, so I'm not sure about the Welsh name there. But I know it does come from, again, I'm going to butcher this, Linlithgow Junction. And this is Croy, by the way. So I know it does come from that, and it joins the route in the middle of the route. So you can either go that way or you can go to Holyhead, depending on the service you're taking. And yeah, the timetable does include all of that, plus the path to Wrexham. Wrexham, you may remember I mentioned the Wrexham to Bidston, which is a useless timetable for me right now, because we don't have that route anywhere in Train Simulator. It's only a back and forth route served, I think, by Class 150s. There's no connecting services, I think, anywhere on the route as far as I know. There might be some stock movements, and that's it. Maybe the odd service might come in from Poole or Shrewsbury or South, or I don't know, somewhere. But there's not a lot that you can do on that route. So it's just mostly a back and forth route. Goes to Bidston, which leads to the Merseyrail network. But as I said, we don't have that Train Simulator, so I'm not going to be able to show that to you anyway. It's just something that I'm using as a reference point. But I am looking at North Wales Coastal as a strong contender for an upcoming route as well, because I've already looked at South Wales Coastal. I have to do more scenarios and trains on that route as well, especially if they wind up getting used in the Blackpool route. I have to look over the requirements for the Blackpool scenarios and find out what trains I need to clear off before I can start showing you, installing those trains and showing you those. But I definitely want to show you those. So there's like 27 scenarios in there. Some of them are quick drives. I want to show that off. But for now, we should probably just keep concentrating on our drive here. We are now about nearly 8 miles away from Falkirk High, with its Class 380 advertisement. I kind of should play that as well at some point. The Glasgow Airport Link route. Glasgow Airport Rail Link, I believe it's called. I have heard negative reviews of that route in general, mainly because it's a short route. They didn't bother to extend the route anywhere beyond Paisley St. James, whoever made that. I think it was Total Eyes Media who made that. They didn't extend the route anywhere beyond Glasgow St. James or Glasgow Paisley, or put in the other Glasgow, or put in the, I'm saying that wrong, St. James or Paisley Street and St. James Street. It's Paisley St. James, I think, is what the other one is called. There's another Paisley station as well that is its own separate, isolated route that comes out of Glasgow as well. But I don't think it's Glasgow Central, by the way. But I don't think there's a lot of positive reception for that route. In fact, the only reason I got that route is because I got the route itself for free with the train. I'm not kidding. The pricing of the route I got it at is the same pricing of the train in the same sale. So I basically got the route for free. I can't complain about the free route. I can complain about the train, but I can't complain about the route. So we'll see what happens when I get to play that one at some point. That's a couple of my UK plans. I haven't picked out anything else for Germany yet. And we're going to see if there's any other new products that come out from DTG in the future. If so, they're going to get probably slipped in front of something else as well. But I'll try to have some stuff ready to go just in case. I want to get some stuff ready to go here. I know there's going to be, next month I'm going to be probably gone for long periods at a time because my mother's going to want some assistance with taking care of some pets while she's away for a few days, for a little while, for a trip somewhere. So I know that she is looking at me to be there to help out with that, but I'm going to be trying to... I don't know if I'm going to be taking my computer with me to her place or if I'm going to be getting breaks to get out of there and come back home and do stuff here as well. But whatever the case may be, I'll be curious how my September recording is going to go. I might have to record a bunch of stuff in advance because that's about a month away now as I'm showing this to you. And knowing that I'm going to have a long period of time where I can't really record anything, I haven't decided if I'm going to be taking it as sort of a vacation for myself, a little break from my YouTube, or whether I'm just going to go ahead and record stuff anyway. But as I said, if something new comes out during that time, it's going to make for a little bit of an uncomfortable situation for me, having to try to find a way to record all this for you. But if something comes up, I will do it for you. I will try to do it for you. Especially because the last route we had was a German route. The previous route we had was a German route. Then we had a US route that I've shown you in the LIRR. I can only imagine there's a UK route coming next. They seem to cycle in that kind of an order. And I know 8 months ago we had the... oh, here comes Falkirk High. We had the extension route to the... what's it called? Oh, Faversham. We had the extension beyond Faversham to Dover and Ramsgate 8-9 months ago, something in that range. 8 months ago, I think it was December 21st or something like that. So yeah, a little less than 8 months ago. So then we had the German route in March. We had the US route last month. UK route in November, maybe? I don't know. October, November? September seems a little early. This month would be extremely early since they're still riding LIRR. Let's get the brakes on. I have not been braking properly. Anyway, if you have any guesses as to what the UK route is, please put something in the comments. Let me know what you think the next UK route is going to be, and we'll see if anyone guesses it right. And no, the Blackpool route discussion and my timetable adoration discussion has nothing to do with giving a hint. I mean, how would I know that? Okay, getting to stop at the end of the platform. This should be good enough. Opening the doors here. We are about 2.5, well, yeah, a little over 2 minutes early. So let's take a look at the train. We'll get a nice moving shot here as we wait for our passenger pickup to be completed. You saw the box. Leaving Falkirk High, our next stop is Polmont. That is about 3 miles, about 3.2 miles from where we currently sit. While we make this trip to Polmont, remember I said before we made our stop that the next likely DTG route on Train Sim Classic is going to be a UK route. I've been doing some thinking about routes I would love to see in Train Sim Classic. I'm just going to name a few potential guesses here. For routes based on discussions I've had with other people, like just normal people like myself, and on my own wishes and thoughts as to potential good routes. One route that comes to mind is the Southeastern Main Line, which goes through Ashbury on a different route to Dover. started at a new version of London Bridge Station, take it down to Ashford International, and connect it to Dover. Then you got the full loop, possibly able to be merged if the same point of origin is used. So you can possibly do that as well, and you can do the full loop through Dover for a service that might go through Dover, if such a thing exists, as a freight service maybe. So that's a possibility that came to my mind. I was chatting with someone about the Class 140 family earlier, a couple days ago, and when he mentioned to me the Class 141, which I did not know existed. That was a new train revealed to me that I didn't know about. I know we have the 142 and the 143 in the game. We don't have the 144, and we don't have the 140, and we also don't have the 141. So all three of those are missing. 40%, not bad. There you go. So I asked him about this 141. Apparently it served the Leeds area until 1997. And my research of that led me to the Bradford International route, which is an interesting option. So it seems to be a very short route, so I don't know if it goes how far that train went, or what exact path it took out of Bradford, or what exactly the services were, but that's not anything that came to my mind now. Something with the Class 141, a new version of the Pacer trains that we have, the 143. So that's an option. I'm trying to think of what else could be extended. I'd love to see the East Coastway route or the West Coastway route in some fashion. West Coastway, of course, goes from Brighton to Southampton, cuts across the Portsmouth Direct Line area. There's also the East Coastway, which is already in Train Sim World to some extent, but also could be extended to Hastings or also to Ashford International. So that's another interesting possibility that I think would be good for Train Sim Classic. So there's a few ideas right there. I'm not going to go into all of them, but there are a few ideas right there that I think would be some good guessing. Oh, one more. Scarborough. When I was looking through the timetables for Manchester, I was noticing trains coming from Scarborough in there. And I thought that'd be an interesting one as well, because I think it comes in the route from, I'm not sure if it's from Leeds or from Wakefield Westgate that it comes in, but I noticed those trains coming in the schedule as well as they go through Manchester Piccadilly. So I think they go to Liverpool in the timetable I was looking at, and maybe they still do today as well, I don't know. But just the Scarborough line through York, that would be a great line. So re-seeing those on timetable reminded me that that would be a nice route to see someone tackle. There's also a path from Scarborough down to Hull on a different line that does not go through York. So that's a possibility. Anyway, coming into Polmont, this is our second stop today. And I'm coming to a stop a little quicker than I intended to. So putting a little speed back on to bring the train to a proper stop towards the end of the platform. I don't mean to take my time like this, ladies and gentlemen. So again, get your guesses as to what you think the next route will be from DTG. While you do that, I'll look at the train. Leaving Polmont, our next stop is Linlithgow, and that is about 4 3/4 miles away. So moving on to Linlithgow. Now we've been talking about UK routes that I'd love to see in this game, and I'm actually doing some thinking about the US routes as well. There's still a couple of US projects I'd love to see. One of the particular ones is the Ontario line, I believe it's called. And I'm not talking about where I'm from. I'm talking about California. There's a city called Ontario in California, in addition to the province of Ontario here, where I'm from, in Canada. So, but there's a city called Ontario in California. So when I tell people I'm in Ontario, they're from California, they're like, oh, it must be nice down there. No, it's kind of cold up here in the winter. But yeah, joking aside about weather, there is a passenger line that goes through from that line. There's two different lines. I'm not sure which one of them is. Well, the Ontario line is probably the one that goes through Ontario, obviously, but there is a second line as well. They're both nearby each other. And I think they fall under the... they might fall under the category of the trains that were not able to be branded. The branding was not able to be done, so they're under a different name, the FPH or something like that. I'm not full... Well, let's fix that. So I'd love to see one of those lines get in, or both of them possibly. I think they're about 50 miles or something like that each. And it would also allow for the Colton Yard to be fully done as well, the West Colton Yard, south of the San Bernardino route. But what would be really, really neat is if a enhanced version of the Cahoon Pass with the third track added, at least through Victorville, not necessarily all the way to Barstow, but at least through Victorville, were to be included with that route. So not only the passenger service, but also the freight service through the Cahoon Pass, a much improved version of the Cahoon Pass, with the third track added. And I think that would be a really neat combination, kind of a nod to the original Train Simulator route collection, while adding something new to it, and potentially also using the same route point of origin for one or both routes to possibly connect the Pacific Surfliner line. So if you can connect from the Pacific Surfliner, its terminus, I think of San Diego or something like that, going from San Diego all the way up along an additional passenger line. There's a few stations on another passenger line that don't go through Los Angeles, but it goes directly to the Cahoon Pass. If those could be added as well, possibly, and that would allow, assuming such a service exists, to go from San Diego right over the Cahoon Pass to Victorville. That would be really, really neat if that is actually a service. But I don't believe it is. I think it's a separate passenger line that ends at San Bernardino. Even so, still would be neat to have that. Having some additional U.S. passenger options is not a bad idea, and the Pacific Surfliner provides those options. We have a double yellow signal. What is going on up here? I think there's a train in the Linlithgow platform right now that we're going to have to wait for. Now, we are fairly early, so I'm going to start slowing down right now just a little bit. Especially because I have a single yellow signal, so I'm going to have to slow down more than just a little bit. Oh, not that much. Holy cow. I did not mean to slow down that much. Let's go back to full throttle for a moment to get a little bit of speed back, because I don't want to be excessively late here. That might be the train I was waiting for. We might actually be clearing the station now. So I'm going to kind of take a gamble on this. I don't know why he would have been on our track, but it's possible. I don't know of any routes that merge in here, though, so I don't think he could have merged in from another route. So we're 4/10 of a mile away. Let's take a scan ahead at the signal. We're going to find out in a second what the color of the light is up ahead. Green. Oh, fantastic. That's what I love seeing. So yeah, we must have been waiting for that train, because I don't think there's any other train on the map. And like I said, we were early anyway, so I wasn't too concerned. We have a whole minute to make our stop still. And we're only a quarter of a mile away, so it's definitely makeable. Coasting this one in very nicely, I'm finding. Platform on the right does extend a little bit further, but we are now fully in our platform. We're going to stop right here. This is just fine. Arrival at Linlithgow, platform number 1. For those of you who are wondering about the train that we were following, here's where we are. We're fully in the platform, as you can see. This is the train we were following. This train was moving in front of us, and this is what caused the yellow signals. He's now waiting for us. As you can see, this is a coal service. So we're going to see him, and we're going to continue our path towards Edinburgh after we pass him. No issues at that point. Leaving Linlithgow, our next stop is Haymarket. If you were observing, you might have noticed I stopped a little further. I started a little further ahead than I was. I actually had a bit of an issue on my last recording, so I am doing a new recording of this part of the route. So I unfortunately did not make a save at this stop, so I had to redo this stop. What can you do? Things happen. It is an old game. So we are on our way to Haymarket. It is about 16 miles away. Now, I've been talking about the different things I like to see in the UK and a little bit of the US. We didn't get a lot of time in the US, so I will talk about it later. Here's that coal train we were passing, by the way, that was waiting for us. Now, that we were waiting for, and now it's waiting for us. We didn't really have to wait for it. So, in any case, we are passing him, and we're going to carry on our lovely merry way. There he is. Coal service. So, let's talk about Germany, because I actually have a really interesting idea for Germany. There's a lot of German routes that would be great to see, because they all have a lot of different services. But I did some study of the Dresden area, and it turns out the Dresden S-Bahn carries about two dozen different types of trains on it. And I'm not making that up. I'm talking about RE services, RB services, the intercity services. When I did the study of the S1, the S2, and the S3, which forms the entire Dresden S-Bahn, I came up with about 24 services between them and an additional line that the RB31 service takes, an alternate route out of Dresden HBF heading towards the Causeway or Berlin areas. So I came up with about 24 different services that can be simulated on the route, and I think it would be a fantastic addition to do an extension for the entire Dresden S-Bahn and merge it in with the Dresden to Reis route. Not Leipzig, just Reis, because we don't need to have Leipzig on this one. It would then make a Leipzig requirement, and this route doesn't go towards Leipzig at all. The whole idea would be to have services from Skåne to Meissen and vice versa. Meissen is 3 stations off from Causeway. Skåne is an entire, 50 miles away from Dresden HBF. The complication with this we'll talk about later. Now, the S2 service starts about halfway along that. I forget the name of the station that starts it, but I know Bad Schandau is on the route, and it's not that far. It's about halfway along the S1 that this, maybe about 18 miles out of Dresden HBF, that the S2 actually starts. The S2 then goes through Dresden Neustadt with the S1, but then detours off towards the airport, which is another 4 stations away. One of them is an industrial area, one station. One is another road. I don't know what the third one is. I think it's the name of the actual place. Then there's the Dresden Airport. So, Dresden Friedenhofen or something like that. Whatever the exact word for airport is. So, the S2 would be another 4-station extension on top of the S1, which to me is value for money right there, getting 4 extra stations. We then have the Dresden S3, which is its own separate route. I'm going to watch my speed because we're coming up to an 80, so I'm going to idle now. So, the Dresden S3 is its own separate route. I forget the city it ends at. I don't have it on my information in front of me right now. None of my notes for the Dresden route are on hand right now. But there is that idea of doing the Dresden route, the Dresden S-Bahn route, and the additional route through another yard in the Dresden HBF area. I know I mentioned it before. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's you turn off to it very, very early. I think it's after the very first possible stop. I think it turns off into that yard area before you get to Dresden Neustadt. And that is another alternate route you can take to get to the Berlin line. It's the alternate route to the Berlin line other than the one that we have. Oop, that's too slow. So I think that would be a great extension, because that's 2 really small lines, 1 full line that has not yet been done, and also the S3 has already been done in Train Sim World, so you've already got the art done for that. it would not be a bad idea to have that. That would not be a bad idea. And even though it would be an extension, it would be one heck of a beefy extension to the Dresden-Nereisa route. So why not? I like it. I like the idea. There are ways to extend the route elsewhere as well, but that can also accommodate some trains that use the routes. But I'm not going to get greedy. I'm not going to ask for too much here. It's an idea, but that's all it is. I almost sped past 80. Whoa, don't do that. Now, there's one more thing you want to talk about with the U.S. as well. Then we'll just stop talking about wishes and dreams and hopes and prayers because, you know, this is my video of talking about everything I want to see in the game, as I tend to do once in a while. But this is one that came up to mind only recently because we saw the LIRR only recently, and it would be too early to consider this as a possibility, but LIRR extension? Why not? Bear with me here. Let's talk about this. New York Penn and Jamaica both have routes that go through Jamaica in order to get to every other point on the network. Jamaica is the hub of the network. You cannot drive an end-to-end journey, whatever end you use, without going through Jamaica. Every train goes through Jamaica. No questions. No questions. My thought here is do an extension to the route that would allow any work done on any natural terminus of the route to be done without having different extensions conflicting with each other. What do I mean by this? I'm talking about an extension to Babylon. From Jamaica to Babylon. We already have St. Albans on the route, and we already have both of the lines represented going away from Jamaica. I mean, you have to. They're both lines that go away in case someone wants to build onto it. You can't act like they don't exist. You have to show them going off somewhere. So, whoa! Let's cut that down before I get too fast. This is why I gave myself a little bit of a buffer in points, ladies and gentlemen. I was not in the 100 yet. Okay. That was not a large penalty. That was a 6-point penalty. That is doable. I have a 50-point buffer. But in any case, the LIRR to Babylon, you would go through St. Albans. You would pass by the routes to Far Rockaway, the route to West Hempstead, the route to Long Beach, which is about a 6-station extension of its own, 5 or 6 stations. Far Rockaway is about 6 or 7 stations. Then West Hempstead is a few as well. You would go through the Valley Stream area. You would have another whole bevy of stations on this main route. Whether they extend to any of these termini or not is irrelevant here, because any person who wants to can then take this route as it goes through Babylon, pick whatever extension they want to work on, and they can add that 6-station extension as a free addition to the workshop. They might not be able to get proper station assets for every station, but they could certainly come up with something generic. Come up with something generic, and maybe station signs can be included with the Babylon extensions, so that whoever wants to make those extensions can access those station signs. Just model each of the station signs and include them in the extension. That way they're available and they're usable in the workshop. That way you have every station sign possible for any extension on the route. I think it's a fair idea. Why not? And the whole idea with going to Babylon is because by the time you get to Babylon, you go past the point where the line from Hicksville merges in and has its own branch going towards Ronkonkoma. I would also suggest have the line to Ronkonkoma because it's about 7 or 8 stations and it gives the full service to Ronkonkoma, which is its own timetable. But there's also the Huntington extension, which already has a great start. This can be done in the workshop right now, so we don't need Huntington. But being able to branch off the area towards, like, there's a separate line that has no stations that actually goes towards Babylon. I know some trains can use that. It's not common, but some trains coming through Hicksville can use that to go to Babylon. That is possible, especially if there's a line closure. Then you're going to find that some stations in the area are closed and trains are going to go that way to Babylon anyway because there's no other way to get there. So that's how you would serve Babylon. The rest of the stations would have to serve themselves and do bus service anywhere else on the line. So if there's a line closure, they figure that out. They have buses in place. They charter buses. They did it for 6 weeks recently. Trust me, they do it. They recently had a service to Hicksville through Babylon. That tells you how a weekend went. But in any case, if they extend to Babylon, they get that little central track added from Hicksville, and then they branch, and then they at least start the branch to Ronkonkoma. Even if they don't do the whole branch, even though it would be nice to have the full service for the M3. Even so, make it 2 extensions. One can be the M3, one can be the M9. Or the third one can be a diesel train. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Put an entire diesel route in. The Ronkonkoma plus everything diesel beyond it. This is Edinburgh Park. But the whole idea is get every merging track covered so that anyone wanting to work on an extension on the route can do so without conflicting with someone else's extension and potentially having conflicts. And then each extension can be added as its own little thing or done as its own separate route. I don't know, however they want to do that. Someone can merge them all together and make make the entire LIR network. That would be fantastic. We'll see, someday. But I know there are people who want to work on the LIR, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. It's just too early to see what they're doing yet. It's only been a month. I'm sure there will be extensions in the workshop in due time or somewhere, and I look forward to seeing them. I truly look forward to seeing them, and I will drive them if I see them. Or if someone lets me know about them. Let me know if you see one. I will try to get what I need for it, if there's something else needed, and I will try to drive it. I'd love to see the full Long Island Railroad and Train Simulator Classic. I really would. Because there's 11 different timetables that you can simulate with the full route. Now, Port Washington is a bit of a long one. I don't know if that will be there. Oyster Bay is a diesel one. It would be neat to have the diesel train again. But, and Huntington is a really, really long service with some yard access. But I know looking at the various timetables, I saw yards at Huntington, I saw yards at Babylon. It'd be neat to be able to simulate services in those yards. The ones that end in the station, then you have to shunt them into the yard. It'd be neat to be able to do those as well. I'm already looking at services where you have to go to West Side Yard as part of the service, at the end of the service. I'm looking at making something like that in the future, but as I am looking at the UK route as well for Liverpool Manchester right now, I think is what I'm looking at. That is supposed to be a flashing city. Let's stop talking about the US. You know what I want. You know what I'm wishing for. That was a blank aspect. We're going to probably see... Oh, that was a green aspect. Okay, that was actually for a... speed reduction then. That was for the speed reduction to the 40. I saw a signal from the other direction. Never mind. We have green signals. We're good. I thought I saw a flashing signal that wasn't flashing for a moment. Because that was a blank signal. Oh well. We're getting down to 40. We'll carry on. Carrying on. I'm seeing things, ladies and gentlemen. Coming into a 40 mile per hour speed limit, we're going to end the discussion of hopes and dreams, and I'm just going to keep looking forward to whatever the next UK route is, because that's got to be what's next. By the way, I've been following something else. I'm going to talk about this briefly on as well, because this is something that's going to matter today. It's going to happen today. Not related to Train Sim Classic, but to a different game. I will talk about this after we make our stop at Haymarket. Is that for a yellow or is that for a speed restriction? I can't tell. Oh, it's a yellow. Okay, cool. We have a yellow signal up here. So let's come to a stop up here before that yellow signal. Actually, we have more room because that was a 3-car stop. So I'm going to keep going for a moment. I mean, the station's long enough we could have stopped there anyway, but we might as well stop at the proper stop point right here. So we're done here for now. And doors are open to Haymarket Platform 3. Leaving Haymarket, our final stop is Waverley, Edinburgh Waverley, platform number 14. Our signal has upgraded to a green signal, so we are probably clearing the station now. So there's probably just a train ahead of us, hence the yellow signal earlier. We're going to be pulling into the standard 25-mile-per-hour section coming up ahead here. We will keep that in mind. And I'm not doing in the best positioning for timing right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and let my speed creep up a little above the speed, or a little towards the speed limit, not above preferably, because that penalizes me. And that should allow me to hopefully keep my time where I need it. We are only about 8.5 of a mile away from the station, now coming down to 0.8 of a mile away. So the next signal will probably be a double yellow signal, since we are being flashed towards the terminus here. I'm going to start lowering my speed now because I have to. I did gain a little bit of time on my ETA, which is extremely handy. But I have to give it back now. Whoops, let's get down just a smidge more. There we go. We're in good shape now. We actually do have a green signal, so I guess there's a double yellow and then a single yellow right next to each other there. That must be what we're looking at. Because this is a terminus. I know for a fact this is a terminus. How do I know? Look at that signal 0.4 of a mile away. There's a buffer there. Every time I look through that tunnel, I think there's a train ahead of me, but it's actually just the path through the tunnel. It's perfectly fine. Nothing unusual. Just a yellow signal and a red signal makes it look like a train. Don't ask me why. I said don't ask me why. There's our shunt signal on telling us, well, go ahead. There's our yellow. The yellow is what applies to us. We're being given platform number 14, which is matches our HUD, so yeah, I think that's correct. That would be our signal. I'm pulling in now to Edinburgh, Waverley. So yeah, that first signal was a shunt, and 0.5 of a mile away was the actual signal. We need to slow down a little bit now so we don't get emergency braked here. But I don't want to come in too slow. Oh, or I can come in extremely slow anyway because I'm doing things stupidly. That was intelligent. I'm wondering if a penalty brake must have applied on the train, I didn't catch it, or if I just hit the brakes too fast. Not sure which it was, but we're going to bring that back up to a 0 now. And now we're going to start hitting the brakes properly. And forward, now I'm at 5 miles per hour, a little further. So the thing I want to talk about very quickly, I didn't talk about it because I forgot to, but I'm going to talk about it while we're waiting for the end of the scenario. So let's bring the train to a stop up here at the buffer. And actually now is our due time, so I'm just going to stop here and we're going to open the doors. That'll do nicely. Let's look at the train as we finish, and I'll talk about that little thing I want to talk about as we turn off the train. Alright, so that's the end of that scenario. We should get 1,000 points. I gave myself enough of a buffer there, so we should be good here. And that's how you get 1,000 points on a scenario where you can't normally get 1,000 points, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. Edit the time, edit the score, and that's how you do it. In any case, something I'm going to be keeping an eye on today, as I'm posting this, something I'm going to keep an eye on later is an actual announcement to come around noon. Now, I've been called away to work on something tomorrow, so I'm going to miss the announcement. But I'm pretty sure they're announcing Train Sim World 3 tomorrow. I'm pretty sure because it was already spilled a little bit by JD by accident. So, and he confirmed it where he could have just acted like it was something else. But he confirmed it and said we can't talk about it right now, which was normal. Nice job, JD. In any case, there's kind of like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing going on right now where they claim to have gone to a remote location, undisclosed location, and they have this weird footage with Freddy the Turtle and some birds and hot air balloons and stuff. And they're doing hints with the sound of this ghost train going by all the time. That's kind of like a Five Nights at Freddy's vibe. It's kind of weird. But watch for an announcement today, ladies and gentlemen. The Train Sim World 3 is going to be announced today. I don't know anything beyond that. If it's something else, I've been completely thrown for a loop. But I think they're announcing Train Sim World 3 today. Keep an eye out for that. I'm going to see if I can get a scenario for you tomorrow on here. Maybe I can talk about this little freaky little thing they're doing on their YouTube channel. a little more tomorrow. But I'm going to see if I can do another scenario here once I'm done my little excursion tomorrow. I haven't decided what it will be yet, but let's look at the menu very quickly and look at that. So first, there's the perfect score, and you can see that I am now the only person apparently on my friend list to do this, which is strange. I should have other people on my friend list. Where are they? They were there earlier. Is it because I edited it? Oh well, let's look at the menu. Ah, there's my friend list. Perfect. And the global and all that. So what scenarios am I looking at doing here? I actually found something interesting on the... on this tab, which I did not realize I had put in my folder here. So I'm going to go down here, scroll down here just one tick, and you're going to see it. Oh, look at that. Snack Time Career number 5. Now, this is a, I think it's Rose and Garrett. Their username is something like Rosgar, R-O-S-G-A-R, and they're known on UKTS and actually have some freeware pack scenario sets on UK Train Sim. Basically scenarios they've created. They have a snack time series that is coming close to, it might even be past now, but coming close to 200 scenarios, as well as about another 500 scenarios or so that are all on the site. They've gotten to the point now that they're just editing the scenarios they've already posted and putting up new versions of them with updated stock. So some of the older stock is being retired, like the old RSC 37, for example, or the old 101 stock like that is being retired. And they're updating to newer, fresher stock in their scenarios, which is good. They're updating the scenarios for today. I like that. But I have to see which version of Snack Time Career number 5 I have, and I actually might do that next time, because that's a nice little 38-minute scenario. I need to make sure I have everything for this. I might be doing something else, but I might do this if I have everything for it. I know they tend to use the UKTS freeware packs, and as you can see, they're using the Class 170 DMU FS. It's not the Armstrong Powerhouse one. It is the actual one that comes in the DLC, I believe. You notice it's the same train here. So even though the image says otherwise, I think it's the same train. So I'm going to see if I have everything for that. And if I do, that's what I'm going to run. I'm going to see how they do a career scenario. They don't do a lot of career scenarios. So I am curious how they did these, and I might do that for you to show you something custom. But I have to make sure I have everything first. So once I know if I have everything, I'll decide if I'm going to run that. I do want to give you another video tomorrow before I move into something new, whether it'll be Blackpool or something else, I don't know. But I have to decide still what I'm going to do next. But I do want to give you one more scenario with this first before I make that decision. So stay tuned tomorrow. What is it going to be tomorrow? Don't know yet. I'll show you tomorrow. If tomorrow's already come, you'll already see in the playlist what that next video is going to be that I can't tell you about yet because I don't know what it's going to be. It might be this, it might be something else. If it is this, you'll see it behind this in the playlist. If it's not this, you'll see whatever it is behind this in the playlist, and you'll see that shortly. If it's not tomorrow yet, just have a wonderful day, evening, or night, and you'll see it tomorrow. And if it is tomorrow, again, have a wonderful day, evening, or night, but stay tuned because you're going to see another video shortly. And make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff as well. That next video will start in 3, 2, 1.